It's not often that you get to speak to an actual diva, and I did. I'm Kat Calvin, and this is Choose the Bear. And today we are talking to Perle Noire, a Hall of Fame burlesque dancer, an icon, a legend. She is known throughout the world for her power, her grace, her beauty, the way she just embodies and exudes Josephine Baker-ness is what we'll call it. I know that listening to this, you will be inspired and amazed. You'll learn not just about Perle Noire herself, but about the history and beauty of burlesque and what an incredible and empowering art form it really is. So I hope you enjoy it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And here's Perle Noire. Everyone, we have a real treat today. I am so excited. A couple of months ago, I was in Las Vegas and I saw Dita Von Teese's show, and it blew my mind. And I've seen burlesque, but I've seen cute, wonderful local burlesque, but this was the burlesque of burlesque. And I got the t-shirt, which I love. I was so just blown away by the power of these women and men who didn't say a word and just commanded this massive room. And I was like, I can talk to these performers and find out what their secret is. And then just honestly, for me, hopefully you get something out of it. This is for me. And one of the first who I wanted to interview is someone who I have seen around. I think it's someone who, if you've ever paid any attention to burlesque, you know this woman. She's a legend and an icon, and has this really incredible, unique perspective on healing and seduction. And so the absolutely extraordinary Perle Noire said yes, and she's here. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Oh my God. I am so excited that you're here today. And look at you have the feather boas in the background. I mean, we are ready.
I'm ready to go. They're always here with the Nefertiti, of course.
Of course. Amazing. So I really love to let people introduce themselves. So please tell us, who are you? What do you do?
Oh my goodness. Well, you would be here all day if I actually went through my 20 plus years of receipts. But what I would say, in the world of burlesque, I'm the most famous Black woman to do burlesque since Josephine Baker, which is why I just was awarded a Lifetime Achievement Award, aka Sassy Lassie, from the Burlesque Hall of Fame.
Oh my God.
I've traveled all over the world teaching people how to use burlesque as a healing modality, because when I got into burlesque, I honestly had no idea that other people weren't using it as a healing modality. And so I've done everything. I've taught burlesque, presented burlesque at the Sydney Opera House. I've been in Tokyo. I've performed on private islands, New Zealand. I've had a billboard. I've recently just presented burlesque at the Lincoln Center here in New York City. So I would actually be here all day, but in short, I would say I'm very proud to say most celebrated Black woman in burlesque since Josephine Baker. You will not be able to speak about burlesque and Black burlesque without mentioning my name in the history books moving forward.
Yes. I mean, that is why I wanted to start with you. Skip ahead. I have 5,000 questions, but
okay, I want to hear them all.
But I'm skipping because I was watching this. So many of your videos. At first it was for research, and then I was just like, I just need to see more of these.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
But there were so many videos where the first thing that came to my mind was Josephine Baker. And I was there's so much about your movements and your spirit and just the way that you dance that just reminded me so much of her. And that I felt so much of Black dance history and Black history in what you do. So I just want to we're going to start with that, because you brought up Josephine Baker, and that literally has been at the top of my mind every time I've thought about you. Tell me about her and how you infuse that and Black dance history in what you do.
So what I love to mention when it comes to Josephine Baker, I wholeheartedly believe that I was one of the people that she chose for the, it's like, I believe I am a reincarnation of her, but she was so powerful that I believe she chose many others. And it just, my connection to her is so strong, and it goes beyond what she did on the stage. I like to now say, I am the embodiment of Josephine Baker before and after the banana skirt, right?
Okay.
So right now, what I'm doing to honor her memory is focusing on keynotes and how I can be a teacher, because we all know, or some people might not know, that she was the only woman to speak at the March on Washington, and she played a pivotal role in the civil rights movement. But that's a story for another day. But when it comes to how I was introduced to her, I auditioned for this all Black burlesque musical in 2001. Okay, y'all, that's how old she is. MySpace and Skype days. Okay, listen,
the good old days.
The good old days. And it was an all Black burlesque musical that this woman named Alicia Miller, Jeannie had production. She wrote it, she produced it, and she directed it. And so I went in not really knowing much about burlesque in the sense of striptease. Now, I grew up watching burlesque, and so let me tell y'all, if you loved In Living Single, if you loved In Living Color, if you loved I Love Lucy, these are all burlesque formats. So when the history of burlesque is really about the comedian first, the comedic timing, the storytelling, which is why Josephine Baker took off the way she did, because she became a sex symbol crossing her eyes. And so when I got this play, I was like, oh my God. And Alicia was like, I want you to research all the Black women who did burlesque. And that's when I really started diving deep into Josephine's story. And I was so healed by her story, because she grew up in the similar way where she was bullied. She was told she wasn't pretty enough. She was told she was too dark. And as a person growing up in the South who was constantly told that, I was like, wait, this Black woman started in blackface and ended up in a castle doing burlesque. Sign me the F up.
Yeah.
And that's how my love affair started with her. And again, to me, I said, oh, she was able to go to Paris and do this art form where she could completely take her power back. She had complete autonomy over her body. And so again, I stress this, I had no idea that other folks weren't using burlesque to heal, because it was the only thing that I was thinking about. I said, I'm going to heal my connection to the fact that I love being Black, but I don't like being dark. And I used her as my beacon to help me fall in love. Even though she was biracial and had fair skin, she still was told she was too dark. So I used her as an anchor. I sure hope I answered that question.
You absolutely did.
Because I went for it.
It was the perfect answer. It was the perfect answer. I find it interesting that that's how you came to Josephine Baker, because I remember I went to like very white schools in the suburbs of Seattle, which I still got called a monkey and all of these things. And I remember learning about Josephine Baker as a kid and thinking, oh, well, if they didn't think she was beautiful, then these people are wrong, because she's Josephine Baker. And like, really, that was one of the many things, that and The Bluest Eye and all these different things that helped me sort of calibrate and realize it's not us, it's them. Because if you can look at Josephine Baker and think she's too dark to be beautiful, you have issues that only God can solve. Like, I can't help you.
Only God can solve. Yes.
Yeah, and it helps. And I don't know if you've seen Audra's production of Gypsy.
Yes.
Okay, and the thing, it's exceptional. Obviously, she's Audra. She's amazing. And for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's directed by George C. Wolfe, who like I majored in theater in undergrad and like directed one of his plays and was obsessed. And so he's done sort of vaudeville, because it's all about Gypsy Rose Lee and starting in vaudeville, becoming burlesque, but from a Black perspective. But the thing that floored me, the thing that I have thought about almost every day since, was Joy Woods' final performance as Gypsy Rose Lee, which I think is one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. And actually, I want to see her play Josephine on Broadway, right? But it was so amazing watching a Black storytelling of Gypsy, and then watching this Black woman on a Broadway stage play the most famous, historical burlesque performer of all time, and being dark. Like Joyce Woods is a dark-skinned Black woman
Yeah.
who just absolutely owned it.
Yeah.
I feel has to have watched many videos of you to learn from that performance, but
Mhm.
I felt it was such an incredible moment, and another moment of me really realizing there's so much power in this burlesque thing.
Yes, yes, yes. I think that one of the quotes that a lot of people remember from me is saying, burlesque isn't about showing your body, it's about trusting it.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's about trusting it. Of course, there's the glamour. Of course, there's the topless ladies. But again, at its core, burlesque is about healing through storytelling, in my opinion, because we have to remember when burlesque was very popular, the vaudeville days, those people were going to the show just like when we go to the shows to escape reality,
Yep.
to have a night of fantasy. What can be more healing than that?
Yeah. Well, and one of the things that I thought about, and this was true for both Dita's show and every local burlesque show and everything I've seen, is there is always a mix of body types. And
Mm-hmm.
there's always women of every shape, size, ethnicity, etc., who are so proud of their bodies and being very,
Mm-hmm.
open and on stage and sensual, etc., regardless
Yes.
of shape or size. And that to me says so much, because of course we're living in an age, and as a 90s kid, it horrifies me that we're going back to the 90s days of
We
the
are.
like
We are.
expectations of being rail thin and the low rise jeans.
Yeah.
And although you can
Yeah.
pull my bootcut jeans out of my cold dead hands, but I want them high rise. High rise. And but burlesque, every woman who does it is of every shape and is so proud of their bodies. And I feel like that's something
Mm-hmm.
that women can learn from. How can we learn from
Mm.
burlesque how to be proud of our bodies and accept our bodies, which is not a thing that we are taught to do
Yeah.
by society.
I think when it comes to doing burlesque, especially if you're working with me, I'm trying to be so mindful of how I say it, but it is, my therapist told me when you're born to heal, you're born to trigger. So I just have to say it like it is. When you go into a burlesque class, if you're working with me in healing through seduction, one of the things that I'm going to stress is in this hour, try not to think about how this is going to benefit your lover, how this is going to benefit your community, how you're going to look to the woman next to you. So while burlesque is very empowering, one of the things I usually have to shake out of the women when they come to work with me is this idea of like, oh, yes, I'm taking this burlesque class because I want to feel sexy. But then when I ask them to drop the mask, they can't do it. When I ask them to look at themselves in the mirror, they cannot do it. And that's because even in the burlesque class, they're still coming in to fit a mold. And so I say, allow burlesque to truly be a space where you get to just be yourself, honor your body as it is right now, even if you want to change it. We can want to change things and still celebrate what we have right now. Two things can be true at the same time. So I would say, just as you reminded people, burlesque is a place for you to truly accept yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
body positivity isn't about you lying to yourself. It isn't limited to curves, but if you want to use burlesque properly, allow it to truly be a place where you are liberated, and liberation cannot be choreographed.
Ooh, put that on a t-shirt. I
Pow.
love that. So let's talk about healing through seduction. What does that mean to you? How do you teach it? Why is this a thing that you advocate for?
There are so many reasons. One, I would say it's about body autonomy. I was trafficked at 19 by a friend, and it was actually my pimp who had a dream to let me go. She was like, I had a dream last night that you're meant to do bigger and greater things, so I'm going to let you go. And 3 years later, I was headlining as a burlesque performer. A few years after that, I was headlining for 10 plus years straight with Dita Von Teese. So healing through seduction for me is about healing through the idea that you can romance yourself, understanding that your healing journey doesn't have to be limited to your trauma, honoring that when it comes to truly reclaiming your power, you are going to have to shift your relationship with your body. If you're a Black woman, you're going to have to come to terms with respectability politics. You're going to have to come to terms with not wanting to be the Jezebel or the fast tail girl, and understanding where that even comes from. And understanding that if our sensuality and our connections to our bodies weren't important or powerful, they wouldn't work so damn hard to make us numb, disconnected, and ashamed. When you are numb and disconnected and ashamed, you are easy to control. So healing through seduction, what we really focus on is helping women and femmes come back home to their bodies and their sensuality. And how we do this is honoring our ancestors first. Why? Our ancestors were not evil. I think it's by design that we were taught that, because if you're not connected to your power, your bloodline, if you think your bloodline is evil, then you essentially think you are evil. You will not think past those thoughts. So, and if you're a woman trying to come home to your body, you have to honor your ancestors and your lineage. Why? Because some of the things you're carrying don't belong to you. So we can't even think about you truly being in your power without acknowledging, well, first of all, you're coming to me numb and disconnected. Well, how much of this is you? And how much of it comes from your lineage, right? What did Big Mama pass on to you? The second thing we do is focus on healing rituals and teaching people that healing doesn't mean harm. A lot of people wait to think about healing themselves when they're on a deathbed. No, homie, you got to start before you get to the deathbed. It's a little too late now, homie. When you about to go, I hear the angels calling. Like, come on, like the trumpet, I can hear it. And I'm not about to die, but I can hear your trumpet. So that's what we really do in healing through seduction. Ancestors, focusing on what our bloodline gave us, sensuality, self-love rituals, and burlesque inspired healing rituals.
It's funny because there's something I felt this in the Las Vegas show, particularly, that there was something very revolutionary and very dangerous about burlesque, because it was these, for the most part, women who looked like all sorts of things. I mean, Dina's done an amazing job of having this incredibly diverse show, and it's very queer. And
she always has,
and it's really incredible. There was a gay tango that I'm like obsessed with.
Yeah.
But,
which is how tango started, by the way.
Ooh, really? Oh.
Yes, that's the history of tango. She made it, she brought it back to its original form. I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah. That's actually how it was done first.
Giving me a thing to Google. But it was these women particularly who were so confident in themselves and so in control that they were able to command this giant room without saying a word. And I was just like, oh yeah, I could see why this is something that people would want to oppress, because this is really dangerous.
I mean, so very dangerous. It took me, again, I have been talking about burlesque being healing. I've had my company Healing Through Seduction for over 2 decades. And I'm just now having women like you say, oh my God, I want you on my podcast, in like the last 5 years or so. But I had to keep pressing on. And I can't tell you how many podcasters, business conferences are like, oh no, get away from us. You're doing burlesque. You're talking about seduction that is evil, to get away. And I just kept moving on, because I'm like, one day everyone is going to catch up to me. And here we are. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad you're here.
It's the danger of being ahead of your time.
I am so glad you are here, especially for me when I talk about the connection to, if you are a Black woman and you are connected, or you're Asian, or you're Latin, or you're indigenous, and you find yourself loving burlesque, I am telling you, you have to fight me on this. I think your ancestors sent you here. It is the only art form where you have full autonomy over your body. It's all about dancing to the rhythm. With a lot of people in this era, they're heavily choreographed. But how I became the icon that I am, and even in Dita's show, what she loved about me was that you just never knew what I was going to do. I was just totally in it. And of course, the ancestors would have us pay attention to this art form where we're coming back home to our bodies. We're coming back home to the spirituality of movement. When we look at these documentaries of indigenous and African people, what are they doing for every occasion? Dancing. until when someone told them it was evil to do so. Someone told them it was wrong.
Yeah.
That's not by accident.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you've got to move your body so that it's medicine. And that's how you really come home to being comfortable with your body. That's how you feel comfortable with your sensuality. That's how you can captivate a full room. You have to captivate yourself first.
I mean, just golden quotes. I love it. We put them on shirts. I mean, the other part of that too is you're really telling a story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and there's so much power in telling, you know, storytelling with your body rather than with words.
Yeah.
How do you think about what story it is that you're communicating when you're performing?
What I usually try to focus on is either how am I honoring the people who went through the back door so that I can go through the front again,
Mm-hmm.
honoring my ancestors. And when I say ancestors, I'm not limiting it to my bloodline. Who went through the back door for me? Who went through the back door that are not named? They didn't become as famous as the Josephines, the Martins, the Malcolms, but they deserve my respect as I go in here into this place and become the headliner. Who paved the way for me? I want to acknowledge you. I'm going to dance for you tonight, right? So I'm either thinking of that, paying respect, or I'm thinking of a moment of resilience and honoring the fact that my moments of strength and resilience as a Black woman are not limited to the time that I cried and that's it. No, I'm going to come back and transmute that power onto stage and have grown men crying once I'm done.
Amazing. So one of the things that I think you have done well in your career is you definitely honor the ancestors in the past and tradition, but you really push the art form forward. Where
Thank
are
you.
we sort of now in the timeline and world of burlesque, and where do you see it going?
I see burlesque moving past people feeling that this art form is limited to the cheap seats in the back. And what I mean by that is not respecting it as an actual art form. Because again, it's ran by women mostly. And what I'm seeing and what I hope to see in the future is more women owning the theaters, more women owning the production companies, more women on staff doing the tech rehearsals, even more women in the audience. And what I'm really, really hopeful for, and I want everyone to hear me very clearly, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful we get to a point to where a Black woman doesn't just see the Dita as the glamorous one, but the local girl as the glamorous one too. Because I can't tell you how many times Black women have literally physically turned their back to me while I was performing in the Dita Von Teese show, but stood up for my white counterpart. And that all goes, we know where that comes from. So for me, my wish is for the people of color, when they are in the audience, they are also falling head over heels for the women, the femmes, the non-binary people, the unicorns, whoever they are, that you look at them and you are just transformed by their power. Regardless if they have a rhinestone, you are transformed looking at yourself, and you are not limiting your inspiration to a white, beautiful version of perfection. Now sit on that.
I I feel like the challenge of that, right, is that, I mean, there's a lot, but that's not on the performers, that's on the self-healing of all of those people. And how do we get there?
That's what I want. Well, you get there by, again, when you go to the show, checking yourself. Checking yourself. Don't turn your back. And it's not just me. Almost every Black performer who was doing it back when I was doing it, we all have the story of the Black women, and it's still happening in 2025. So that's what I'm wanting. I'm wanting the evolution to come from the audience side. and the evolution of the business side of show business, which I've been preaching for 20 years. It's called show business.
Yeah.
So also the people who are doing it, not ask yourself not to limit it to, oh, I'm going to do this performance and go. No, no. How are you going to, instead of going to the theater, how are you going to own it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I would love to see.
Yeah. Well, so I'm in Arizona, and
Mm.
there's a surprisingly, like, there's this really cool sort of burlesque culture, and there's lots of like classes and
Oh,
everything.
I love
One day maybe I'll get up the courage to take one. I don't know. I'm a little terrified.
Oh, you have to. You have to.
But I love that, before this, I was in LA. There was like, it seems to me that over the last several years, that this sort of fits what you're saying, that burlesque has been more present, and there've been more classes, and like suddenly I'm
Yes.
seeing it more places, which, and
Yeah.
it's, also, in places that aren't super expensive, right? You don't have to go to Vegas. Like the bar here has
Yeah.
one, or there's a $25 burlesque class or whatever. It really feels like it's opening up. Are you
Yes.
seeing that? And B, do you think that that is going to lead to more people of sort of all diversities getting into burlesque more serious?
Yes, I'm seeing it. It's been happening for years. I love it. I absolutely love it. I would love for those classes to be more than $25. Again, because that's the business side of it. Everyone, a lot of times the teachers are not actually making a profit. And I want, not just in burlesque, but the whole world, right? Like I want everyone to just focus on their own healing journey and focus on how they treat people who are curating healing or transformative experiences, right? We have the saying, eat the rich. And I'm always like, okay, that's nice to say, but also as you eat the rich, are you feeding the poor? Are you feeding the healers of the world? And so when it comes to any kind of entertainment, and in burlesque, it's transformative, period. I don't care if you don't think about it. Burlesque is transforming lives generation after generation. So I also want to see those $25 classes go up to $1,000 because people can pay that for other things that are not transforming their lives.
Yes, that's very true. True. So speaking of, and to sort of start to close out.
I'm having a blast, by the way, everyone. Thank you. Everyone listening, hello and thank you. I'm having a good time. I got my Afro puff going on here. I was like, how am I gonna put this? How am I gonna do this? My earphones with this Afro puff, but I figured her out, girl.
We need extra large headphones.
Yeah, I was like, okay, she's smushing me. Just those in YouTube land, I just want you to know she's a little puffier than this. Okay, I just have to get that out.
It looks, it's nicely shaped. It's like a little headband. You've got the bouffant. It looks great. It's great.
Thank you.
I think so much about just this. You're just so joyful and open and confident, and
Thank you.
Every woman needs more of this. Every woman needs more sort of burlesque in her daily life. How can women take that spirit of burlesque and that confidence and that command and take it to work and to home and to wherever they are? How do you take that with you?
I'm so glad you asked, because that's my favorite thing to talk about. So I have two practical things that you can do, right? So in one of the first things I teach people is something I had to do, again, to fall in love with my dark skin, because I was thrusted into burlesque, hating my dark skin, traveling with the likes of Dita Von Teese and Catherine Delish and Dirty Martini, these beautiful white women. I was a dark-skinned Black woman in a white woman's sport, in a white woman's world. And so I had to get healed fast. And so one of the things that I started doing to heal myself and to take burlesque with me wherever I went was, one of the first things I did was I said, okay, I'm going to always think of glamour as a healing tool. I don't care if it's ramen noodles or caviar, it's going on china. Start eating on your china every day. Why? You are the special occasion. You are the special occasion, right? Another way I started taking burlesque with me in healing, and I also do this is the first thing we do in Healing Through Seduction, is we think about, how am I going to honor that I have autonomy over my body in this moment? Because again, burlesque it's not necessarily about stripping down to your breast. It's about how are you stripping away whatever is holding you back in life. That's why the people look confident up there. They're willing to be seen. So how can you be open and vulnerable with yourself every single day? How can you say, okay, in this moment, I don't care who's the president. I don't care what's going on around the world. In my own home, my physical home, my mind, my heart, my body, my home. How am I going to focus on my autonomy? So one of the rituals we do is ask your body for consent every single day. So before you pick up for Keisha, who's about to talk about Tron for the 100 and maybe like, she ain't leaving Tron. She ain't leaving Tron's ass. So ask your body, do I have your consent to pick up this phone right now? And be a willing vessel for Keisha to suck up my energy. Your body will say yes or no. Do I have your consent before I get on this business call, before I do this presentation? Do I have your consent to open my throat chakra and trust my voice? Do I have your consent, my mind, to trust the dreams that are being presented to me? When you start asking yourself for consent, you trust what you feel in your body more, and then you trust your intuition more. And when you trust your intuition more, you trust your dreams more, and then you trust your higher power. So now every single day you are walking around in your full power because you are starting with yourself. And the last thing I'll say is it also teaches you about boundaries. When you see a burlesque performer up there, they are giving themselves consent to push their own limits. That's why a burlesque routine can be a glove being peeled off or top, or you can be all nude like I like to do when I'm really paying homage to Josephine Baker, having that courage. But before I take anything off, I let the audience see my heart first. This is about boundary setting with yourself. And so when you're constantly saying, do I have your consent? You're also teaching yourself how to respect your own boundaries with yourself. Then it's easier to show up in the world.
That was amazing. Thank you.
This is
words to live by.
This is how we got here.
Incredible. I can't thank you enough. You've given me. I'm just going to sit and think for a while now.
I love when that happens.
I appreciate. Thank you, for being here, but also for all of the boundaries that you've broken and everything that you've done. I mean, you've been such a trailblazer, and I really appreciate it. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone. I sure hope you feel inspired to go, not just do burlesque, but to live it, to embody it. And that's about you having autonomy, owning yourself, giving yourself a permission to be yourself with yourself first. The rest of the world will catch up to you once you catch up to yourself.
And I mean, put that again on a t-shirt. Well, I hope you enjoyed hearing from Perle Noire. I hope you are as inspired as I am to maybe take your first burlesque class. We are at the beginning of a 3-week burlesque run because I just love it so much. So over the next 2 weeks, you'll hear from 2 more really extraordinary people in the world of burlesque. So I hope you enjoyed that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share this with someone who you think will enjoy it, leave a review. Oh, so many assignments for you, I know. And if you're watching this the day that it comes out, then have a happy Thanksgiving tomorrow.